Welcome to another chat on healing the land. I am Heather from Infinite Collective Healing, a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner here in Tennessee, and I'm joined by some wonderful guests who would like to introduce themselves today. Who would like to go first?
I'm Marissa. Hi, from Utah.
Hi, I'm Kim from Tennessee.
And I'm Janelle from Tennessee.
See in the house, representing East Coast
Yeah.
and West Coast here. Awesome. So thank you all for being here today. And we are setting the intention for healing the land. Tapping into Gaia today, allowing whatever needs to come up for her, and just really remembering all of the reasons why we came here to not only be on our self healing journey, but also to tap into her guidance and allowing her to heal as well. So, we're going to start today with a very lovely meditation that we would love for you to join in with us and take it over, Kim.
Okay. We're going to do a little meditation for Gaia. So if everyone would close their eyes, unless you're driving or something, don't do this. Okay. So breathe in and breathe out. Just kind of focus on your breath. In and out. And as you breathe, imagine yourself outside. And you could be in a forest or park or even in your yard. Just somewhere that has a beautiful tree or trees around. And I want you to go and sit under one of these trees. And as you sit down, I want you to feel the ground on your bottom. Does it feel cool or warm? What do you feel around you? Is the air cool or warm? You feel the sun on your face coming through the leaves, touching your skin. What do you hear? Is there birds sitting in your tree? Squirrels running around the tree? Is there a breeze blowing the leaves? Maybe even touching your hair or your face? Sit with that and feel, hear, maybe even smell the earth or the grass around you. And then as you sit there, breathe in deeply from the stomach and then hold it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and release it and feel that release going down the spine, down to the tailbone. Breathe in again, stomach, up through the lungs, the top of the head, and hold it. Release down the spine and down the tailbone. And again, breathe in, deep breath. Hold it. And release down the spine. The next breath that you breathe in, hold, and release I want you to see the spine roots going into the ground. Feel the roots going down into the ground. You might feel that root pushing the dirt away as it goes deeper and deeper into Mother Gaia. You might feel that root touching the roots of the tree that you're with, sending each other signals. And as you go deeper and deeper with that root, I want you to see underneath there all the other roots from all the other trees, like some kind of connective internet service down there for the trees, where they can communicate with each other and with Gaia. And feel the grounding. And now I want you to go back to your body, back up those roots and into your heart, opening your heart up with your inner light. And as you get that heart opening wider and wider, getting brighter and brighter, that light goes down that root into the ground, touching all the other roots of the trees, activating them, activating Gaia. And as we do this, we're just going to hold still and hold space for Gaia to take this energy and do whatever she needs to do with it. If she needs it to clear the land, she can use it to clear the land. If she needs it to heal the land, she can heal the land. We're just here to hold space and hold light for her at this time. And the trees are here to help her take that light wherever she needs it. Feel into that light and hold it there. Feel your stillness and allow her to use whatever she needs. She knows where it needs to be healed, where it just needs to be cleared. Feel your light bright and still. Feel the tree taking in that light at your roots and sending them for miles and miles as you hold that light and hold that space for them. And now I want you to go within and send love to Gaia and let her know that we will come back and do this whenever she needs it. She just needs to let us know. And we feel our light in our soul And we're coming back to our body. Coming back. And when you're ready, start wiggling your toes. Start wiggling your body. Get that energy back into your body, back into your soul. And you can open your eyes whenever you're ready.
Wow,
And Gaia some energy.
that was cool.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody feel anything weird or strange? Or
Oh yeah. I really quickly, I was sitting under a tree and I saw all 4 seasons. And like she showed me all different like scenes as I sat under this tree. And then whenever you had us into the light, I literally saw us four. And then because this is, when this goes out, other people will do it with us. It was like every one of us got around her outside of the planet and we were all like hugging our light into Gaia. It was really pretty.
yeah, yeah.
I got that, which is interesting. I have not had this come to me before, but I am interested in it. The rising CO2 levels on Earth, and some people are, this is global warming or whatever, and then others are like, this is just increasing the Earth's CO2 that's making it terraform more. So we have more plants, we have more trees than we've ever had in history. And you can see all the weeds in my yard and that, that everything is just growing. But as we were um, putting our roots, the tree roots down into the ground, I saw that the roots of the tree feed energy to Gaia, feed energy to the earth. And they're like these energy posts that take energy out of the atmosphere down through the root system into earth. And that the added CO2 is no accident because it's giving more trees, more plants, more roots to gather the energy in the atmosphere to feed the earth and raise the frequency and vibration overall. And I thought that was kind of an interesting. I keep coming across things the last few months that have to do with the terraforming that's going on right now, and all that kind of came together for me, and doing that. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny how everybody sees something different, because I just see the roots of the trees when I was talking, and I just seen them lighting up and going into
Mhm.
the ground, different places. They're just like touching each other. Then they'd send light and touching, they'd send light. And I was doing that.
I felt our interconnectedness. It was like in my heart. Like, I don't know, I just really, it made me think of how many people, if we really all focused on, love and light to each other and to the earth, like how healing it would be. But it really opened up my heart and just realized you forget how connected we all are. But like, I think of like aspen trees and how they are so like, I mean, all the trees are connected, but like you grow one and then you'll have a whole forest of them soon, and so that's why I pictured.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt she was very appreciative of that.
I thought she was too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have been guided to kind of look into the chakras for Gaia, and there's actually lots of videos on this. And I found one actually on the channel of Gaia. Um, and I actually found an excerpt on YouTube. So if you want to look up the Gaia, the chakras of Earth, you can look that up. But I wanted to share some things because depending on where you are when you watch this video, may help you understand some things. So I'll share what I've learned. I thought it was really interesting. So, starting with the water, everywhere the water is the blood of Gaia as it flows through us. So, imagine how polluted the water is. You can kind of imagine how our insides are with all of the toxins and all that, and why it's so important to keep the water so clear, um, because it is her blood. And then another cool aspect of it is us on this planet, we are like the neurons. So if you imagine that we are the neurons of her electrical system. So we are very beneficial, and imagine if we were all to be positive, how much better it would make her feel, right? And as toxic as we are in our mindset, imagine what that makes her feel like because we are a part of her. So, with that being said, I started going down through the body, and it's so amazing how you can take like planet Earth and kind of flatten it out and see from top to bottom. Imagine her sitting, and the crown of her head is at the North Pole. That's where her brain is, that's where her crown chakra is. Okay. And then working our way down. The third eye is in Iceland, and the nose and the breath when she does her breath work is in Greenland. And if you think about like how weather is kind of depicted in that area, the breath, cold and hot, if you imagine what happens in Greenland, that makes a lot of sense. And for us being in North America, we are in the throat chakra. And what
Mm.
I found based on our conversation last week about the Appalachian Mountains and how we are super tied into that. I was guided to move here. We talked about this with the indigenous last week, but the vocal cords are in the Appalachian Mountains and along the East Coast. And it is said that we are the vocal cords, we are the voice of Gaia, which I find to be very empowering and makes total sense of why we are where we are. I feel strategically, but the entire North America is the throat. So we are all interconnected with that. And it was said on that channel, whatever happens in this region, and this is about the Appalachian Mountains and the East Coast. So whatever happens in that region would reach the whole world. We connect everyone through the language. And I felt that to be very empowering because the entire show, there was nothing else about that. And I thought, wow, out of all the things that they could have elaborated on, they elaborated about that one area. So I thought that to be very intriguing. And then I've heard this many times about the heart chakra being in Europe, with the high heart being in Great Britain. The chest of Gaia is actually in the North Atlantic Ocean, with lungs. One lung is in the Congo and the other one is in the Amazon forest. So that's pretty
So
cool.
cool.
That does
This,
make sense with the trees there.
yeah, doesn't it? The solar plexus was in Asia, and it kind of combined the solar plexus and the sacral together in a sense. Um, Saying that the sacral was also pulling in China, Japan, Mongolia, Tibet. And that's where a lot of emotions are being processed, which makes sense. And specifically with the kidneys and the adrenal glands. Now, this one really made total sense. So, the kidneys and the adrenal glands are in the Middle East and Australia, New Zealand area. And what is going on is it's having to clean, purge, and purify what's going on. And if you know about what's happening in the world, kind of starts making sense why things are happening there, because Gaia is having to do a lot of purging and cleansing. Because if the kidneys and adrenal glands are for cleansing, it's got to do its thing, right? So there's a lot of Gaia doing a lot of her own inner work as well. And then the root of Gaia is in Africa, with the spine, the base of the spine being in Patagonia. And that is the makeup of Gaia sitting where she is on the planet, if you imagine her having her own body. And then it talks about how the spinal cord is all the way in the Andes of South America, and it curves up to the Rocky Mountains all the way up to Alaska. So imagine that will be her spinal cord. And then, of course, connecting back into the North Pole. So thought that was very intriguing, and depending on where you are in the world, could explain some things about what could be going on in your area. Because as we are doing our healing and our cleansing, and we are just one part, we are just one neuron inside this beautiful planet we call Mother Earth. She is also going through this cleansing process, and she's having to purge and heal herself from what we have done to her, because we have forgotten. We have forgotten all about her. We have been so self absorbed and gotten so thinking outside of ourselves, going outside of ourselves for help, going outside of ourselves for the answers, and forgotten who we are and why we came here. And it's all about remembering who we are, and that we have all of the answers within. And we're here to heal ourself, not only for our own self journey, but for Gaia herself. So I hope that helps. I thought that was very intriguing, especially with the voice. Like, we literally just talked about that. And I don't know, there was just something about that. I was like, wow, we have got to allow Gaia to have her voice back.
Absolutely.
I was thinking about North Carolina and East Tennessee when you were saying that, and how they're stepping up, using their voice, saying no when, the government's coming in with FEMA and telling them what to do. And they're like, no, we're taking care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what came to mind when you were talking about using their voice.
I agree. I think it's very powerful at this time too, is coming back together, the unity, to realize that we do have the power within, and we're way more powerful together. And if you look at throughout time, we can go all the way back, and it's documented that we have always been separated. And of course, there's powers that love to enforce that and keep that mindset, but we are waking up to that truth now and able to break free ourselves. So it's the time.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
Yeah. So I would love to see, like, I don't know if Janelle can like tap in, but I'm very curious about this middle earth, inner earth, like if they have any messages today for us, or anything that even Gaia would like to come forward to say today, just given space.
Hmm. Well, one thing about um, just energy wise, because we're kind of talking about that with the Middle Earth, um, you know, a lot of people will say the earth is round, or if it's this shape or that shape, but in actuality, there is openings in the north and south pole, and that energy goes through and down and through and down, and that's what keeps the frequency and the energy of the planet together, and is that energy that's swirling. And you see that in nature in many different ways. Um, but with inner earth, they sometimes call it hollow earth. Middle Earth, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. But it's really, Admiral Byrd is the most famous one that flew his plane back in the 1940s down in and documented his experience in doing that. And then they heavily guard, as everybody knows, Antarctica. And there's a lot there, And so, even though if you put in Chat GPT, what is inner earth, it'll tell you that it's just a fallacy. But there is a lot of documentation that this is real and it's true. And so, any rate, but when I think about it, we've heard, like even in the Bible, it says, as is above, so is below. And so that's a thought that there's this tension, this energetic tension of what's above reflecting down what's below, I guess is another way to put it. And so I think that they are far more spiritual beings that live in inner earth, and they did not necessarily get the sleeping pills that we got on our own humanity and our own history. And so they actually remember, uh, you know, and a lot of them were actually above, and different cataclysms had them going beneath, like the Hopi. The Hopi, at a certain point, long time ago, in their verbal history, and somewhat in their pictographs that they have, that this beings came up and um, showed them that they needed to go down below. They don't really have an idea of how long they were below, but they were taught how to do for themselves and da da da. And then when the time came, they came back out. So, so I think the message um, that Inner Earth has for us is that they're rooting us on. They know uh, what's what, and that they are, in a sense, holding space for us um, to break out of that, to break out of our slumber. And they want us to be awake, and it's an exciting time. They're excited. They're cheering us on, and they have deep spiritual, um, priests and uh, people there that have a better understanding of what we're actually going through, and they really are trying to give us messages for us to remember who we are, or our connection to each other.
Now, a lot of these people that are underground, like the Hopis, they talk about the ant people taking them
Mm-hmm.
down into the Middle Earth. And then you hear about also like Atlantis, some of the people that was in Atlantis went down into Middle Earth to be
Yes.
saved. So that would make sense that they're very spiritual.
And so, and if you look back, history thousands of years ago, um, you know, like Druid, Celtic, the history, um, whether it be written or oral history of the elves or fairies or different other that were common in the common lore. back then, and then suddenly they left. And so the thought or idea is that they left and they went down to inner earth. And so some have said that have written or talked about inner earth that, Admiral Byrd kind of said that, it was like this continent, and there was like this sun that gave light, and we don't need to get into all that, but there's different pockets. So let's say that there's a big area, but then there's say gateways or tunnels that go into a different continent. And so these different people groups may be like us, where, there's Australians and there's Africans and so it's not one, it's just trying to give people a visual. And so, different ones have talked about the whites with the white hair and the blue eyes and all of that. And they're kind of under Great Britain. And years ago in meditation, I had it kind of come to me that really was the elfin kingdom that came down, and they formed that, and they're the whites that people talk about having visitations from, and deeply spiritual people. It's kind of, you can really get going down this rabbit hole, but they definitely they're very aware of what's going on the surface, and they're definitely here for us. And a couple years ago in meditation, I met um, kind of a collective, but it's a Garthay. And so they do, it's a collective of spiritual beings that are in inner earth. So it's interesting that we could tap into that. So I encourage everyone to include that in their meditation for sure. Who knows what you may get?
I
So are
know.
they more a higher vibrational group underneath there?
Yes, because they were never asleep. They haven't had the same um, issues that we have, where um, the elites or the cabal, um, or I call them the controllers, just an over term that's controllers, whatever form that might take. They weren't, um, like I said, the best way to say it is almost like our DNA was changed in such a way that we were easily manipulated. And so there was a call thousands and thousands of years ago, where a large portion of the inhabitants of Earth went to inner Earth, and then these cataclysmic times have happened, and this has happened over and over. It didn't just happen one time, but over and over. And so they really are far more advanced. Um, there's even some that have talked about that some of our UFO sightings are actually inner earthers. And they come out through the North Pole, and they come out through the sea at openings and different things like that. And so there is kind of there's evidence all around, but you have to kind of connect the dots a little bit. So, but, has anybody else had anything that they've learned or read about inner earth?
Well, I've done some sessions. I've had clients talk about like on their planet they've actually it blew up, and there's I've been had like 3 or 4 different ones, and when they got in their ship, they were like the last remaining ones left. And when they looked to the left and to the right, they were like different species. I had one that was like a tiger being, one was an ant being, and the other one was they said blue. They didn't recognize what they were. A blue being, so it could have been Palladian, it could have been Octurian, but they went to what, and that was what they felt like that they landed in New Earth. I mean, not New Earth, in Inner Earth. They called it
Yeah.
Inner Earth, and when they got there, they were like, "Oh my gosh, the love here is grand," and there is just all species are coexisting. So there were some humanoid, so humans, and there was just all these other beings, and they were, it was just like a refuge is what they felt like. Whether that be true, I don't know, but it was very cool that possibly some of these beings, we're all here on this earth planet right now healing together, because a lot of the things that's happened, the nefarious wars that you hear about in other planets, a lot of them became homeless. And so, if this is true, again, I don't know, just going from clients having these sessions, like they all end up gathering into this what we call inner earth or middle earth, in order to help us from the inside out in that remembering, and being able to connect in with, some of us. We're all multidimensional, so we may even have our counterpart, another version of us, is in the inner
Hmm.
earth connecting back in, and um, so however you take that, and if in even if it's the right thing, because you don't really know what you're tapping into with these sessions when they go and see themselves. They're just like, I feel that it's this, and I feel that it's that, because we don't really have a lot of proof to go on, but it's a very loving, high energetic place.
And they're kind of, I know I do this. When we're talking about, um, we're so focused on, we're up here and not really thinking down there,
Mm-hmm.
or inner earth. But, we've all kind of talked about this new earth,
Mm-hmm.
and that, that we're dividing, that we're actually dividing into a higher consciousness, higher spiritual beings, and that the ones that are not raising in frequency are going in a different path. But it's the convergence of the energy of so below, the inner earth, and the upper earth, that is forming the new earth. Does that make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so it's that energy that's flowing between the two that's getting healthier and healthier and healthier by raising the vibration of the planet, and then merging. You have the symbol, just like in a, you know when a baby is formed, it's that MasterCard symbol, you know,
Yep.
and so the energy of the earth goes down, they're telling me goes in and out and around, and it's
Mm-hmm.
that MasterCard merging of energies that forms that new earth,
Mm-hmm.
so it's an exciting time. They keep
That's
telling me that.
that's
So
also like around us as well, right?
yes,
Like, don't
that's
we
the
have that
way it
energy form around
should.
us as well?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes, good
Yep.
point. Good point. I was thinking that earlier. I was going to mention that, but good point. Glad you said that. That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly how our energy is, um and then when our frequency is raised, it's the same thing, that we're getting more and more integrated to our new selves. So it's a common theme, I guess you could say.
Yep.
And I like the picture that Kim had about, you know, um, the meditation, taking us back to the roots, because I clearly saw that all of this is intertwined, even to inner earth, where these roots are going down and the trees are actually pulling the energy from the out, out in, and it's another way for that energy to be pulled inwardly and out, and we're converging together. And like I said, it's just, when I tap in, I know that we talked about this a little bit last time, but I'm very connected to a collective that is the inner earth, where through meditation and visions I've seen where the time that we were together here on top of the earth above, and that we heard, and I mentioned this last time, but just to mention it again, this kind of shofar horn sound went off to gather the people. And the ones that were led, it's similar to right now, the ones that were led to the higher frequency or vibration heard it and came. And so it was here in Appalachia for my collective, from my, where, I guess my collective ancestry, you could say. And it was thousands of years ago. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, tens of thousands, and we were all above, and we were indigenous people. And so we were deeply spiritual people, in that we were very connected to the spirit of the water, and water is living. I mean, think about the scientists in Japan that did the water Yamato, um, all the water where, you've seen it where it's frozen and the words and all that. But even some newer experiments now is if you touch water, and then freeze it, it will do a picture. Or if you put like a clipping or a picture of someone underneath the water, it imprints. So that water it's got some sort of intelligence and is alive. And when you freeze it, you know, like an imprint of it is frozen. So I bring that up because this is ancient mystery, and that they were deeply spiritual people, and there was a light form that was living in that water. And so they heard the horn, went down, and then they went. Some were left to hold space above, but some went down. But so in this vision, the my tribe all went down. And so in this incarnation, I was born above, along with some of the people that I know. I when I meet them, I know that they were with me. And so part of us were incarnated in inner earth, and part of us are above. And we are actually holding the tension for the emergence of this higher frequency, and we're holding that space. So it's very interesting how all this is coming together, I guess.
When you say meeting, you mean in like meditation, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to clarify
Right.
for.
Yeah. And so,
Well, that makes sense too with what Heather was saying about being the voice of, of Gaia, the Appalachian, or it's the throat chakra, the voice. So we're coming out now talking about this and stuff, and it's very, it's pertinent right now that these people, maybe someone from below is giving us information that we can speak the truth and get it out there.
And they were just now they told me that there's a correlation between the Appalachian Mountains and like Arkansas, Utah, and it all has to do with quartz. Quartz is, you know, yeah, allows that to be transmitted. And so they've showed me that they use quartz all the time in inner earth, whether it be for lighting or um, spiritual things. Like I've seen them with almost like fire pits that are used in ceremony and things like that, where they have, I've seen blue, real blue quartz that emanate light. And so that's involved in their spiritual practice. And so this beltway is what they're showing me going across. It also has to do with, uh, the throat and speaking truth, and that the energy in the land has deep deposits of quartz in this beltway, and that it is, they tell me it's a connection between the two. There's this energetic, they're showing me the figure eight, the infinity, that there's this energy of the figure eight, the infinity of it all. So it is just way cool, way cool.
Yeah.
And so I think people have had, throughout centuries, have had deeper understandings of this, and but it's been kept down.
Mm-hmm.
We're not allowed to know these things.
Absolutely. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if it's because we knew we were going to do this talk, but I literally have been getting like this. And I've been connecting in with Gaia a while now, but like very shamanistic in like
Hmm.
my music, and that's just so invigorating for me. And I've always went outside and connected in with Earth, but like setting the intention more. And I've already talked about this on the last one, but with the clear quartz, oh my gosh, it reminded me. So I have this one, and this is exactly, if you imagine that the way that it points up, that's what I saw in the Atlantic Ocean. And I feel so connected. You think about uh with the North Atlantic, and any kind of ocean is going to be the blood of Gaia. So it's like, oh gosh, setting that intention every time we go, even to the waters, like to cleanse the blood, to cleanse the blood. And as you were talking as well about, with the water, think about what we're made of. We're 70%, right? Like,
That's what I was thinking too.
and so we are another a representation of her as well, and water holds memory. There is proof that water holds memory. We have scientific proof, and you think about how that is in our bodies, which is why we have to change the mindset to positivity, and why we have to have self-love and self-positive self-talk, and because our body is holding all of that in. What if our cells are made of water? Why you have to replenish yourself with water? You're connecting in with Gaia herself with the water, because we are majority water anyway. So in this process of like this so-called shift that we're going through, going from the carbon-based body to the more crystalline body, I mean,
Hmm.
very, very powerful. All of it's interconnected. And I think all of this is coming out now for that awareness, to bring us back to that remembrance of who we really are and why we're truly here. So powerful.
Well, think
Yeah,
about it. You just said about the water. Well, if we can hold memory, we could do that to ourselves. What we
Mhm.
speak
Mhm.
will change the water within us and come out.
Yeah, and even like I recently heard about like speaking to your water, like saying affirmations to your water before you drink it, or having like clear intentions when you drink your water, because then it also, because your whole body is water, and it holds the memory of, even your subconscious, and how you speak to yourself, but a more like enhanced way to help with healing of your body would be to speak to your water, so then it can then connect to the water that's already in your body
Right.
and kind of
Mhm.
speed up that process of affirmations and changing that subconscious mindset.
I do that with
And
my
that's also
shower.
involved with how you speak to yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we've tell that, well, how many years now? Don't speak bad words about yourself, da da da, you know. But you're actually speaking to the water crystals within yourself that are imprinted. And so you're rehashing all of that in your body. You know, that's what's being imprinted. We think
Mm-hmm.
of it as being emotions or, and it is, but it's really that fluid that's running through your body.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So amazing. All right, we have been on here an hour now, so I am so grateful that each of you have came to watch us today, and we hope that you learned some stuff. And as again, I'm Heather with Infinite Collective Healing. If you would like to connect in for any sessions, I am here. I also want to let Kim and Janelle, because they are part of Ancient Wisdom Healing, and you may resonate with them because you're going to put this on your channel. So if y'all want to just say some things that y'all do that they may be interested in as well, I'd love to collaborate. We love helping each other. This is about everybody, working together. So
Yeah, I do uh, the Soul Center Hypnosis Healing, which is something like the QHHT, except we do a lot of negative energy release along with that. I'm also working with Heather. We're doing um, energy clearing and sessions and together, and then we tape them and send them to you. We're also looking into some other little things here
oh
about
yeah.
different J seals and stuff that we've been coming up to and seeing about how to do that and teaching some classes on empowerment and not playing the victim. It's time to step into your power, and we need people to start doing that, you know. Um, if you want to stay clear, once you get cleared, you have to be in your power and know what's going on. So that's some of the things we do.
I want to advocate for their work because they did an energy clearing with me and it was amazing. So just putting out there, definitely, if it's something that interests you, really look into it. It's wonderful. They do great work.
Thank you. Janelle, you want to?
Oh yeah. I do a healing. I'm more of a healer. So I do a healing with the Blue Star, and we'll talk about that some other time.
Oh yes.
But yeah, so I kind of work with the Blue Star healing, and which is a Palladian type of healing. So, and of course, I do all kinds of other stuff. So, but anyway, that's kind of what I do. I have many different interests over the years and studied many different things, as a lot of us have done. And, but that's my primary focus.
Absolutely. And of course, Marissa and I are working together as well with the Freshly Awakened, kind of doing a little project there. So all of us here are just coming together in, trying to reach as many people as we can, that you're not alone, that we're all in this together. This is about raising our frequency, not only of ourselves, but of Gaia, remembering her, healing the land, healing ourselves, because it happens from within. And we don't realize how important it is that when we start with self, it all ripples out. So, again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.